Welcome, everyone, to Talks with Ted. I'm your host, Ted G. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Talks with Ted is every Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, let's get into this, man. So, tonight's topic is the evolution of the Black image in America. Okay. Now, first off, for you sensitive people out there. There may be things discussed in my shows that may make you mad or, whatever it may be. Maybe the show is not for you. But Talks with Ted is specifically to educate those that are on a higher path to learning the truth and knowledge, not only about themselves, but also about Earth, history, and just everything that matters of life. Okay. Just everyday discussions, where we came from, our real history, and where we're going, even maybe future stuff. So, with that said, viewer discretion advised. um, the evolution of the Black image. So, when I even say that, what comes to mind with you guys out there in the audience? What do you think when you think of the evolution of the Black image? In fact, what do you think when I even say Black image in general? I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, what's going to pop in your head when I say Black or history or image is going to be slavery. Slavery. And why is that? It ain't no fault of you guys. It ain't my fault. It's the fault of the education system. Because the only thing that they teach you about our race is slavery. Well, we came from Africa, slavery, and the civil rights movement. Right? That's the only thing they teach. And they're teaching the same thing to our kids, to the youth of today. The same thing. Now, for instance, remember when everybody thought that Christopher Columbus discovered America and that was shot down? When I was in grade school, that's what I was taught too. That, in 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That little rhyme thing, right? So for a long time, we thought that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Come to find out, the Vikings, discovered it like 1,000 years ago or something like that. And plus, Native Americans was already here. Fun fact, did you know that there are Black Indians as well? You can go to China, you can go to India, you can go to, Native Americans. There's a Black race everywhere. And why is that? Because we're the original man. And science has proven that to this day. To this day. Now, when I say the evolution of the Black image, right? Like I said, slavery comes to mind and all type of negative things. And there's a reason for that. I'm finna put you on game. I'm going to let you be exposed to the truth of what's been going on through all these generations, right? Let's check it out. Let me show you the evolution of the Black image and why it's the way today that it is. Because it shouldn't be like that. It should not be like that. Check this out. Check this out. So this is a quote by Marcus Garvey. And when I think of this quote, even when I read it, it has a deep and profound impact on me because so much is said, right? So much is said in just that quote. So much. It's crazy, man. So, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, or culture is like a tree without roots. A tree without roots. Let me get this a little closer so you can actually take this in. Okay, a tree without roots. Ain't that crazy? Check this out. Now, I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but Egypt, which I know is Kemet, was black. Okay, it was black. And day by day, even in today's world, they're discovering that it was black. And here's the kicker part, right? They say that now they're discovering that it was black, but however, we knew that from the beginning, right? When old Napoleon blew the nose off of the Sphinx because his nose was too big. It resembled a black person's nose. And when I say they, okay, I'm talking about an elite 1% that control the country, that control the world, that controls the media. Those people, the ones that wield the power over, every aspect of our existence, it seems like. But what they do is crazy. Excuse me. They oppress us to a level where all we can do is, uh, criminal shit, hustle, treat our women bad, just all type of stuff. But I'm gonna get to that. So we was actually the Egyptians in Egypt. Kemet was black. There was black pharaohs. As you can see right here, here's an image of what's on the pyramid on the wall right there. As you can see, this dude got dreads, bro. Dreads. Come on now. Now, let's talk about Africa. There was a lot of kingdoms in Africa that the average person don't even know about, right? And the reason that they don't tell you about these kingdoms is because they want us to stay docile. They want us to stay obedient. They want us to stay ignorant. Like I said, there's a reason, people, a reason why that they don't teach the full history of where we came from. In fact, the names that we're named today, unless you trace their heritage through DNA back to the original tribe that your ancestors came from, then more than likely the name that you got today was a name that was given to your ancestors that landed on this motherfucking planet. Okay? That landed. Now, when I say landed on this planet, I don't mean a spaceship or nothing like that. I consider America a whole different world, a whole different world. Okay. So, yeah, our names today that, Ted, somebody named Sally, Sarah, whatever it may be. The original names are from the slave owners. I'm talking about last names. Yeah, when our children are born, we get the name of their first name, right? And actually, 9 times out of 10, the first name is chose because they saw it online or it's traced back to Greek or Roman or something like that. But every last name that we have was given to our ancestors from a slave owner, a slave owner, right? And we're from Africa, the Songhai Empire, the Mali Empire, Zimbabwe Empire, right? It is astounding how much that they suppress our origins, our roots. There is a reason for that. Just like that quote said, it's like a tree without roots. Because unless you research it yourself and unless that you dig deep, get a DNA test and learn about your true heritage, you're not going to know it. They're not going to teach us that. It is not going to be in the education system because if it was, then our race would be in control right now. It would be a total flip flop. Total flip flop. These people spend buku's amounts, and I'm talking about $1 billion amounts, just to study the effects of rap and hip hop music on the African American mind, how it affects them, what it makes them do, what behavior comes out of it. Yeah, billions. And you got to ask, well, why do they do all this? Because they want to keep us oppressed. They want to keep us under their boot. Because they know if we come together as a race, as a family, as a people, that we are strong and ain't nothing we can't accomplish. For instance, a lot of you guys probably don't know about Black Wall Street and what happened back there in the early 1920s. It's called the Tulsa Massacre, right? Um, Black people came together. They had banks, churches, airports, lawyer, a whole little community had everything. In fact, episode one of Talks with Ted, I talk a little bit about the history of Black Wall Street and its destruction. So you can go check out episode one of Talks with Ted. But yeah, when we come together, there's nothing we can't accomplish. And I'm trying to show you that we've come from royalty, kings, queens, pharaohs, right? So this was the black image, right? Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward a little bit. This is where we come from. Our ancestors are at Africa. Check that out. Our beautiful sisters, kids playing, having a good time, happy. Our warriors. We were and were a strong race. But America, they fucked us over. To this. To this. Now, ain't that crazy? And I'm going to tell you how all this started. 20 Africans, right, were dropped in the English colony of Virginia in 1619. And they worked as indentured servants, right? They were bound to an employer for a limited number of years. And what happened was their population kept growing. And it reached 76,000. And by 1790, most of them were directly imported from Africa, talking about the slaves, our ancestors. So it went from 20 in 1619, right, to 76,000 in 1790. And like I said, most of them were directly our ancestors imported from Africa. And the other half came from the slave mothers, giving birth. They would push slaves to give birth. They would encourage it. Because check this out. If a child is born in slavery, that's all he knows is to be obedient, docile, listen to his master. So we went from kings and queens of Africa, black pharaohs, strong communities, right? Warriors. In fact, Romans and Greeks, philosophers, Plato, they used to go to Egypt, aka Kemet, to learn the esoteric knowledge. Think about that one. These people came to us to learn, to us. And then, boom, slavery. Slavery. The reason that they keep us oppressed like this is because, like I say, and I'll say, and I'll say again, if we come together as one race, one people, there is nothing that we can't accomplish. Right? Now, and also during 1750, by then from 1619 to 1790, right, we were already considered the inferior race. Even culture was inferior, right? And then our ancestors worked the farmlands of this new world, Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? I'm telling you, people start asking questions. Open your mind. Back then, a slave mother would be pushed to give birth even at the age of 13. 13. 13. So, like I said, we went from kings and queens to that. Now, check this out. English and American churches have been striving to civilize and Christianize, Western Africa. And with what result? Around Sierra Leone and in the neighborhood of Cape Palmas, a few natives have been made Christians, and some nations have been partially civilized. But what a small number in comparison with the thousands, nay, I may say millions, who have learned the way to heaven and who have been made to know their Savior through the means of African slavery. Now, these slave owners, these Europeans, these settlers, they figured it out that okay, we figured out how to make these warriors docile. I mean, I'm sure you guys know about the slave breakers and what they would do to the strongest of the group of our ancestors back then. You know, they would do an act of extreme violence that discouraged any type of disobedience. But they seen that as, well, that's not going to work. We can't keep killing our property. Is how they looked at it. So instead, they gave them the Bible. The Bible. Why did they give them the Bible? Well, because the Europeans back then think that slavery is okay because it's in the Bible. They refer to certain passages, um, even when it comes to whipping the slaves back then. Yeah, we don't cover that, but I want to show you how we went from kings, queens, pharaohs, warriors, and a mighty race to slaves, right? And then to indoctrinated slaves. This article is from a paper CNN did. I'll leave the link to it in the comment section on the video so you can look at it yourself. But man, check this out. It says thousands, nay, I may say millions, who have learned the way to heaven and who have been made to know their Savior through the means of African slavery. Now, peep game, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Peep game. Do you think that right there on your screen is a loving, caring God or deity? Do you think that this dude over here about to whip one of our ancestors and has a baby, a baby, a baby dangling like that? He's probably whipping the mom because he just took the kid away and she wants her baby back. This is the religion that most of America is into. I can see why the Caucasians are into this religion. I can see that because it's gave them nothing but control, and they've been prosperous with this religion, Christianity. But let me ask you this: why would I want to partake of a religion or a belief system that my ancestors, right? My ancestors said it was okay to be slaves. They even had what they called the slave Bible back then. It had certain passages taken out and certain passages put in. Telling y'all, look at our image. It's crazy when you think about it. Straight crazy. Both centuries ago and now, Christianity motivated and uplifted with the promise of heavenly rewards and the possibility that their reward might come on earth. This is what they told our ancestors back then. Christianity brought enslaved Africans this powerful and profound sense of hope. Of course it did. That Jesus would return, that there is a life in a world after this life, that what is going on with the human body, the whippings, the rape, the dismemberment, the beatings. That's what's going on with the human body. The mortal realm is just temporary. That there is eternity. That you will be rewarded. You will experience joy and peace and comfort. That this God is a God of transformation. And the guy that wrote the paper said, no wonder it was embraced. Now, people that are watching this program, I challenge you to use common sense. Use common sense. I know that it's hard to look unfavorably on something that you believed in for a very long time. But peep this, if you was born in China, you would believe in what they believed in. If you was born in India, you would believe in what they believed in. Just because you're brought up in a type of religion or any type of belief does not mean that once you become of age to know the difference between right and wrong and to know the difference between evil and good that you have to continue to be that religion. Continue to follow it. You don't have to. It is okay. It is okay. Ask yourself, why would I want to follow this God or this movement that has put my ancestors in bondage? Ask yourself that. Now, as you can see, the black image right now is a slavery. Again, kings, pharaohs, warriors, strong sense of community, enlightened people went from that to slavery and then to indoctrination. You don't think that they knew what giving Christianity, giving religion to our ancestors back then would do? Man, stop it. It does the same thing today. People ask questions. Open your mind. Stop listening to that preacher spit some fly shit at you that sound good. Because really, in truth, it's all about duality and energy to begin with. But that's another episode. Let's keep going. Some preachers encourage slave owners to allow their slaves to attend worship services, though only in separate gatherings led by white pro-slavery preachers. They had to be seated in the back or the balcony of a segregated church. Those men of God argued that the sermons on the injunction in Ephesians and Colossians, listen to this, slaves obey your earthly master, would promote docility among enslaved workers. Man, listen, y'all better open your eyes. It's telling you right here. The proof is in the pudding. Right here. Let's keep going. The human zoo. How many of you guys were taught in school about the human zoos in America? I bet you, just like you didn't know about Black Wall Street, that you probably didn't know about the human zoos. Why? Because it's something that America is not proud of now. You have to start holding these people accountable. Accountable. No, it's not the Caucasians of today's fault of what happened to us back then, right? I'm not saying that. In fact, if they joined with us, and came together, if we all races came together, we can make a better world. But right now, my race is struggling. My race is in poverty. Excuse me. My race is getting shot by police, being continued to be oppressed, can't get a job, in prison. That's another form of slavery because of the 13th Amendment. And all the while, you're at home waiting on that Sunday morning service so you can go clap your hands, sing songs with the songs that you're singing originated from your ancestors singing it just to give their soul a little bit of comfort while they were picking cotton. But you in there sitting in the pew reading along with this make-believe text. Do your research, people. Do your research. Stop just even what the things that I'm saying, research that as well. Because I'm not going to stay in the wrong direction. This show is just pointed, and the purpose of it is to educate and enlighten. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the human zoos. As you can see, the black image, this is the evolution of the black image. We went from kings, pharaohs, queens, warriors, strong community members to slaves. Chains around our neck, getting hung, getting beat, getting raped, to indoctrinated with religion. So to promote us to be docile, so to promote us to turn the other cheek, so to promote us to obey our masters, because there'll be a reward for you in heaven if you obey your master. Come on, man. Just then as it is today, it's the same thing. Same thing. Because today, don't that book keep you docile? Don't it keep you with hope in your heart? Don't it keep you from holding these people accountable? Yeah, tell you. Now, human zoos, right? Back in the 1950s, now this is after slavery, right? We fast forward a little bit. Now we're free, but we're segregated. There's segregation between the blacks and the whites. Now back then they thought we were beasts. They thought we were animals. Okay. And they had these things called human zoos. And honestly, what even just our race, the Indians was in it. I think this is either Chinese or Cantonese or some type of race that was in it as well. But when you look to your left, what do you see? You see a child getting fed little candies and nuts and stuff by a European that's reaching over a gate, reaching over a pen that animals are in. Look at that child. Look. This is what your ancestors went through. In fact, this ain't even that much long ago. This is less than 100 years ago. This shit was happening in 1950. And actually, it's happening today as well in private. Look at this. This is awful. This is our image. The evolution of the black image from fucking pharaohs and kings to, we were together. We fought as one, self-interest set aside, to this, to being displayed. So Caucasians, and not just them, but anybody that partakes in something like this, feeding little snacks to our children, feeding little snacks to our future. That little boy or girl, right? I think it's a little boy, or no, it's a skirt, maybe. But that's our future. And look how it's being treated. Mom, y'all better wake up. Wake up. And as I said, not just Africans was treated this way, but Indians, Chinese, and others. But guess what race was not being displayed at these human zoos? Guess what race that was? I wonder. Every race but what? Come on, man. Wake up. Wake up. Smell the coffee. Look how they got these people. This should break your heart. Yet, like I said, yet every week you telling somebody, God bless you, or you're praying for this, or you praying for that. Man, listen, research the Flavian signature in YouTube. I want you to research that, and you'll see some eye-opening stuff. Eye-opening, and it's factual. So I want to show you this little clip of the human zoo that I was talking about. Check this out. This is going to blow your mind.
करो डांस करो
और डांस लेना बोलो
पीछे जाओ बोलो पीछे जाओ थोड़ा पीछे थोड़ा पीछे जाओ और थोड़ा पीछे
आदे दौड़े रीरो दौड़े लाले दादा दौड़े दौड़े दे रे दा दौड़े दौड़े दे रे दा vale la idea, tengo que ir. Ahora sí voy a año. Ahora no di de papá, no voy a ti. Ahora que di. Acá vos querés. Uri la. Uri kila no. No dale dale, de galuyo, de galuyo, de galuyo, dale.
Now tell me that don't just make you mad. Tell me that come on, people. Then that's not too long ago. That's less than actually 50 years ago. The Guardian did this story on, they call them safaris, right? Like I said, I'll leave a link in the post with this video. You can go read the full story about human zoos and how they're even going on today. They're illegal, and but people, those up there with the cash. But I don't even know why anybody would want to see this. Why would you do this? Who would want to see this this performance from another fellow human being? You see the part when it commanded them, do it, dance. So what happens is, well, first it started in America, like I said, the 1940s, 1950s. They would display our people in cages and zoos and make them do tricks and dance and stuff like that. As you saw, feed the child nuts and snacks and stuff. And then they also, which is going on today, they have these things called safaris, and you can pay some money to go to an island, to a tribe, or go to Africa, and the guys that's over there that's in charge, they make the Africans dance and parade, and like you just seen, people pay to watch that. Ain't that sickening? These are the same people that gave you the Bible, the same people that gave you Christianity, the same people that gave you Muslims. Listen, I'm challenging you guys to know your history, know your beliefs, know them. I guarantee you, does anybody know who the Council of Nicaea is? Does anybody know how the Bible even made it to its form that it has today? Do you know about the Septuagint? There is so much knowledge out there if you would just take the 30 minutes out of your day and research it. Get to know what you believe in. Get to know what you don't believe in. Now, the evolution of the black image, right? So we went from, like I said, kings, pharaohs, to slavery, to being indoctrinated with somebody else's religion, because in Africa, they didn't know nothing about no fucking Christianity, or about no, God flooding, all this other shit. They didn't know nothing about that. They had their own culture, which is actually our culture. And it brings me to culture, right? We talked about the 1920s with the Black Wall Street, and the Tulsa Massacre, right? The 1950s to the 1970s with the human zoo, and then putting us on display because they thought that we are animals and beasts and monkeys. And funny thing is, right, back then they said that we descended from monkeys, right? And that was an inferior thing because we descended from monkeys. Huh. Ain't it crazy that now they're saying, that everyone came from monkeys, apes? Yeah, I'm telling you, this shit go deep. Then we fast forward to 1980s, right? The black image, what was that? Crack epidemic, drugs, right? They solicited and advertised crack on TV like it was going out of style. Just do your research. They are breaking apart the black family. They didn't want another Black Wall Street, because guess what happened? Our race came together, put our differences aside, right? Kept the dollar in the community. And it wasn't abnormal. For instance, in Tulsa, and with the Black Wall Street thing, say for instance that somebody in the community house burnt down accidentally, or the KKK did it. Everybody in that community will be helping to rebuild that house. Almost everyone. They were a strong unit, just like we was when we were in Egypt, aka Kemet, just like we was when we was in Africa. I'm telling you, listen to what I'm saying to you. Stop letting these people do this. Look here, but not there. Do this, but not that. Recite Romans 10:9 and you're saved, and you, man, listen, stop it. Just stop it with the foolishness. And come to the 1990s to the early 2000s, we had a lot of black entertainers, athletes, and they all being controlled. You think that, say, a rap artist or a musician, athlete, something like that, you don't think that there's a Caucasian European in the background telling them what to do, what not to do, making them dress up as women? I'm telling you, just do some research into Hollywood and all that area. That's a different episode, though. Then we got the civil rights with Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all the, Harriet Tubman, all that, Nelson, even Nelson Mandela. We had a lot of great leaders back then, a lot of great leaders that were trying to bring us together, right? And what happened to them? Assassinated, killed, murdered, or they faked their suicide, or they made them, they deported them because they do not want us to come together, people. They just don't. They just don't. So as you can, that ends our little topic about the evolution of the black image, right? I hope you guys learned something. I really, really do. And I'm going to leave you with this, okay? Ask questions. Stop being led like sheep. Do your research. And then, if you believe in whatever it is you believe in, then okay. But at least give yourself a chance to know the truth of it all. And if it ain't the whole truth, even if it's a little bit of truth, then you're better off what you were yesterday because you didn't know anything. This is, listen to me clearly, the calculated destruction of the black image and the black family. Why do you think the majority of males in prison in America is black? Think about that. Because they know that if you take away the male part of a family, that it will be disruptive. Man, you had people in the 80s that got caught with just a little bit of crack, not even a gram probably, and doing like 10, 20 years. I'm telling you. With the music thing. Now, rap music and music of today, to me, is garbage, right? But some of it's catchy. It's, whatever. But when I listen to it, I always keep in mind of what, how it affects my body and what thoughts it comes to mind, everything. And I listen to it for what it is, entertainment. I don't take it to heart, right? But even the music industry is geared toward our destruction. Check this out. You'll see some videos where people our queens are twerking, not acting ladylike, chasing a man that just got money. They don't want an educated, smart brother. They rather have, somebody that got a lot of money that can take care of them and, this, that. Listen, the black image is just been crushed. And it's going to take us to come together as a whole to rise above this culture that they created for us. Because the culture today has not been created for us. Not to benefit us anyway, at all. While you're on Instagram, shaking your ass, while you're on Facebook, flashing what little money you got or the car that you bought, while you're on Twitter, tweeting about what a celebrity did, these people are trying to figure out how to generate generational wealth. They're trying to figure out how can they make a business, come true. How can they be an entrepreneur? What are they going to leave for their sons and their sons' sons? What are they going to leave for generations to come? What type of legacy do they want to leave? Do you see the people that's really high up working in the fucking factory? No, they own the factory. And they ain't, you don't. And what's crazy is that if you go to a certain, party or whatever you go to, and there's a really wealthy person there, Caucasian, European, even Indian, you won't even know that they're rich because they're not flashing no jewelry. They ain't, carry watts of money in their pocket. They ain't stunting. They're not wasting their money on material stuff that's really not even going to bring them happiness. So check that out. The evolution of the black image. It is the odds is set against us. They do not want to know, or they do not want us to know where we came from. Black, Pharaohs, Egyptians, aka Kemet. Okay. Africa, strong warriors, communities were together, a unit, spiritual growth. The whole community took care of the children. Now, fast forward a little bit. As soon as those 20 hit America, slavery, assassination, oppression. Our image has been always associated with negativity, evil, violence, criminal activity. Pay attention. They're masters at doing a look here, not there stuff. While we out here worried about our neighbors being white and racist, we focus on that shit. The people that's really controlling everything else, the media and everything else, is making plans to keep us more distracted, so we don't hold them accountable for what's really going on. Why do you think they don't promote research when it comes to Christianity or most religions? Why do you think they don't encourage that? Use your head. Use your common sense. I'm telling you. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me with Talks with Ted tonight. We were talking about the Black image, the evolution of the Black image. I hope that you learned something. And even if you didn't learn anything, I always want my shows to leave you at least with the urge to question everything. Everything. Stop, being sheep. Question it. Research it. That is the only way to truth and enlightenment. I believe everybody is on their own personal path, right? So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to join us next Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is Talks with Ted. I'm Ted G. And may you all continue to walk in peace and bless you on your search for enlightenment and truth. You guys have a great night.